What's up, Powerlifting Nation? We maybe saw the greatest flight battle we have ever seen in powerlifting. This was the Battle of the 83s that just happened yesterday at the Powerlifting America Nationals. It was insane. Before the competition, this flight had a lot of hype, probably 6 months leading into the competition, because we had so many big names competing. However, leading into the competition, I would say the hype died down a little bit, because Joe Borenstein was just looking so strong in training. He totaled 900 kg in training, and a lot of people, I think, thought that Joe Borenstein would be kind of in a league of his own. He wouldn't really have a competition, and he would win the competition easily. And the only way that this wouldn't be the case is if one of the veterans who was competing managed to meet Joe Borenstein at his level and compete against him despite his massive numbers. And let me say, Taylor Atwood, the returning GOAT, managed to meet Joe Borenstein at his level. So, after squats, it was clear that it was a battle, Joe Borenstein versus Taylor Atwood. Taylor Atwood is the returning GOAT. In 2023, he didn't have a good year. He was in the under 74 kg class and he came third at the World Championships. He didn't do well at Sheffield. His total was 777.5 kg, very far from his best. And Taylor Atwood took a year's break in 2024 to build and grow. And let's just say that that building and growing did a lot for Taylor. He also moved up a weight class to the 83s, and this was his first big competition in the 83s. And then we have Joe Borenstein. Joe Borenstein, he's only 22 years old, I believe. He's still a junior, and like I said, he's doing some insane things in training. However, after watching the squats, we all knew that this was going to be a battle that anyone could win. Taylor Atwood really surprised us with a 317.5 kg squat. This was really unexpected in my opinion, and it showed us all that he wanted to fight. He was coming here to win. He didn't want to do any sub-maximal lifts. He was going all out. And then we have Joe Borenstein, who was also looking incredibly strong on the squat. He did a 305 kg squat. Moving on to bench press, both of these individuals went over the American record. Taylor Atwood did a bench press of 216 kg, and it looked easy. I think he could have probably done 220 kg. And then we have Joe Borenstein. He did a 218 kg bench press. Bear in mind the world record, which I think has stood since 2019, is 218.5 kg. So these two were so close to a world record bench press. And this is really impressive, especially for Joe, because he's not even known as a bench presser. So to be that close to a world record is insane. Now let's move on to deadlifts. This is where the battle would conclude. So Joe Borenstein's first deadlift was a massive 355 kg. This gave him an 878 kg total after his first deadlift. He went over the world record, which was Russ's world record that he did at Sheffield, of 870.5 kg on his first attempt. Moving on to second deadlifts, Taylor Atwood pulled 342.5 kg with room in the tank. This gave him an 876 kg total, and it looked like Taylor Atwood could easily pull into the 890s. And then Joe chose his second deadlift, and I thought it was a joke at first. He attempted a 377 kg deadlift on his final pull. Bear in mind, this is 3 kg away from the world record in the under 83 kg class. And this deadlift was significant because this deadlift would give him a 900 kg total. A 22-year-old being the first 83 to do a 900 kg total. And he pulled the deadlift, and halfway up I thought that he might miss, but this guy is so clutch. He pulled the deadlift and managed to total 900 kg. But the battle wasn't over. Taylor Atwood loaded 367.5 kg, the exact amount that he needed to win the competition. And if Taylor Atwood manages to do this final pull, I think that it is likely that Joe Borenstein doesn't win the competition, because he wouldn't have to pull another 377 kg plus deadlift, and doing two massive deadlifts in the space of 8 minutes would be extremely difficult. However, unfortunately, Taylor wasn't able to do this 367.5 kg deadlift. I think it was just too much on the day. I think he could have pulled around 357.5 kg, maybe 360, but 367.5 kg was just too much to ask for on the day. And so Joe Borenstein won the competition with a 900 kg total. Let's just appreciate how insane 900 kg is. In the 93 kilogram class, the weight class above, he would have won every single world championship in history in the 93 kg class in the IPF with a 900 kg total. This is also the most GL points. GL points are basically points that allow us to compare lifters pound for pound. And this performance gave him the biggest GL points in IPF history on the male side. So this performance clearly puts him up there with one of the greatest pound for pound powerlifters in the IPF of all time. Maybe he is the greatest. Also, we can't forget that in the under 83 kg class, before 2025 and Russ's world record breaking performance of 870.5, the world record in the 83s was 845.5 kilograms. This is 55 kg more than this. He has just increased the standard exponentially. And I think that this is really a strong showcase to suggest that he might be the next GOAT of the sport. He clearly has the confidence to perform at big events. He clearly has the work ethic, and he also has the mental capability to smash through historic barriers that people thought couldn't be broken. So yeah, this 900 kg total was insane. Because he won the competition, he will be going to the World Championships, where he will have to battle the two British 83s, Jurins Kengamu, who's the world champion, and Ade Omisakin, who has a really high top end and could total 900 kg at the World Championships and bring a battle to Joe. But yeah, this was just a crazy performance. But let's talk a little bit about Taylor. This performance was massive for Taylor. He ended up totaling 876 kilograms. But like I said, he looked like if he had had a really perfect top end day, he could have done 890 kg. This is crazy. If he turned up with this kind of strength any other year and Joe Borenstein hadn't been there, this performance would have been a performance that kind of solidified his GOAT status. This would have been a historic comeback, probably the greatest comeback we have ever seen in the sport. It still is, probably. But we can't forget that the reason why Taylor Atwood was able to turn up so strong on the day was because he took a year out from competing and he just had time to build and grow into the 83s without getting injuries, without having to compete and go to his top end constantly. And that obviously helped him a lot. And so this is significant because, yes, this year is probably the year of Joe Borenstein. He's probably going to get to go to Sheffield. He's probably going to win the World Championships. He's probably going to do some insane totals. However, Roll around to next year when Taylor Atwood has had another year of growing and Joe Borenstein's a little bit tired. He's been going to his top end quite a bit. Could we see Taylor Atwood compete against Joe Borenstein again and maybe turn up with a 910 kg total, maybe a 920 kg total, and maybe, just maybe, he could fight Joe Borenstein again and beat him. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I would love to see Taylor Atwood to continue to increase his total and provide a real battle for Joe Borenstein once again. I didn't know about powerlifting when Taylor Atwood was at his best, but this performance showed me what Taylor Atwood was made of. When he needed to perform, he did just that. Finally, let's talk about some other lifters that competed. So we have Sean Noriega. He really impressed me. He almost totaled 870 kg. Unfortunately, his final deadlift, he lost grip. However, he is someone that is progressing quickly and is someone to definitely keep an eye on. And then Delaney Wallace. Delaney Wallace did a total of 867.5 kg and he looked very strong on the day. Unfortunately, he missed his final squat and that kind of meant that he was out of the competition, because this competition was a competition where you needed to go 9 for 9 to win. However, he looked like he had the strength on the day for mid 870s, and I think that with another year's growth, we could see him do some insane things, so keep an eye out for his training as well. Finally, Charles Hammonds was someone that impressed me as well. He has a massive deadlift. He almost got a 385 kg deadlift, which would be an unofficial world record deadlift in the under 83s. I could see him pulling some insane numbers like 390, 400. Could he be the next Enaharo? But that's it for today's video. Tonight we will see the 93 kg battle, and this could be another historic battle. Comment down below, do you think Joe Borenstein will become the next GOAT? RPE10 drops on Tuesday. However, go to rpe10.shop to sign up for the newsletter and get a discount. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.